If you have any type of discrepancy on your background check, especially abuse or fighting, there's a chance that you will never work in the home health care industry. You will never be a nurse. You may never be any type of medical field, because this is one of the biggest things that they look at, and that's the abuse. Because if you can abuse somebody who does not have disabilities, you can abuse somebody who has disabilities and can't take care of themselves. So now, once we get them into the system, we have both skilled and unskilled services. With the skilled services, you may just need a nurse to come in and fill a medication box for you. So she may come in once a week and fill your meds, or she may come in that same time to fill your meds, but also check all your vital signs to make sure everything's going okay with you. Then we put a plan together. We decide, does this person need a CNA, somebody who has the license and the skills to go into the home, or can we send a personal care attendant? Any of you can be a personal care attendant. Any of you can be a personal care worker or a homemaker. You do not need a license of any kind. And as a personal care attendant, we can also train you to do the things that a CNA cannot do, because she is bound or he is bound by a license. So we can teach you how to do injections. We can teach things that a CNA is not allowed to do. We're not allowed to do any type of injections. We're not allowed to touch any type of tubing. We're only allowed to clean it. Where a personal care worker can be taught to do these things. They can change catheters. They can do programs that we by a license are bound by that we cannot do, and we can get in a lot of trouble for doing. As a nurse, you can come in and be the one that goes to these clients' homes and fill their med boxes and check their vital signs. You can also establish, if they see that the client needs more care, they can be the one who initiates that voice to us and lets us know that we need to add more time for this client to be able to get the care they need. We also hire physical therapists and occupational therapists. These individuals can go into the home. If myself as a client, a doctor orders me to get some range of motion for my legs or for my arms, we'll send the physical therapist in so that she can get these movements going, or she will put together this care plan, and the CNAs or the personal care attendants can also do these range of motions. If you decide that you want to be a personal care worker, these are individuals that actually go into the client's home. They may prepare meals for them. They may prepare their bath, get them ready to get in the tub or out of the tub. They're doing standby, hands-on assistance. Then also, they are also responsible for the homemaking skills and also for laundry, vacuuming, whatever this client may need. Then we also hire just homemakers. And homemakers, they're not allowed to touch the client in any way, shape, or form. They can prepare the meals and do all the basic housekeeping skills. We have a young lady, her name is Elisa. She's our physical therapist. And there are many times when I will get a referral from Rocky Mountain Options. If they have Medicaid for long-term care, they're entitled for a $10,000 grant to have their home accessible for them. So I will go through the physician orders and get the doctor to sign orders so that we can send the physical therapist in to do a one-time home modification. If you're in a wheelchair and you need your doors widened, she will go in and take measurements for the doors. You may be elderly or have little use of your legs and can no longer step into a tub. She will take measurements to remove that tub and put in a walk-in shower. We also have programs in the facility. We can initiate grants without them having to use their $10,000. And we can have grab bars installed. And also smaller home modifications like the ramps for people who are in wheelchairs or in walkers. So at the Independence Center, we're not just home health care. We're also individuals who work with people with disabilities, be it deaf and hard of hearing, blind or visually impaired. If you have a disability, no matter how severe, if you become a consumer of ours, you can get cooking classes, you can get money management classes, you can get resume classes. They will set up a mock class for you to interview and say you have some kind of nervous tic where you're clicking a pen or you're shaking your leg really hard. These are things the interviewer looks at, and they kind of look at it as a negative, that maybe you're not paying attention during the interview. So they will film you, and then they'll let you watch yourself on film to see all the nervous tics you may have. And so they'll walk you through your interview, what you should change, and also help you write your resumes. If you have difficulty in reading, we have peers that will teach you how to read. And just if you need it, we can get it, or we have it. If we can't get it in our facility, we will set you up with individuals out in the community to help with you. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm just having them stand because they can't see.
Okay, you just remember that. Stop working and you hit, disabled people.
You were saying that if you have to stop working if you abuse disabled people. You had mentioned something about that.
And some people.
And I heard that some people that
if that person falls,
if the person might
try
fall
help them
and
up.
they tried to help them up,
And he's always hitting me.
maybe that person would claim that the person's
And
hitting
the other
them.
people believe.
And then the other people will actually end up believing the client.
lost
I've heard
job.
stories like that, and ultimately the person will lose their job.
Right. We have a policy. When you get hired in with our facility, you go through an orientation class. We teach you things to watch out. If you have an instance that, say I was trying to ambulate you from the bed to your wheelchair, and you fell or we both fell, I cannot pick you up. Our policy is I must call 911. 911's going to come out. They're going to assess him to make sure there's no injuries, no fractured hips, because we do work with a lot of elderly. And they're either going to make that determination at that point that they can just pick that person up, put them back in the bed or in the wheelchair, or if they need to take a trip to the hospital. If at any time a client calls us and accuses any of our caregivers that they've stolen something from me, they've hit me, we take it very seriously. We don't fire you on the spot, but we do start an investigation. And because we are state regulated, we have to go by the guidelines. So the client calls us, we start the investigation, but we must report ourselves. If we don't report ourselves and the client reports us, we are in as much trouble as possibly the individual who has stolen or who has hit the client. The main thing is you have to be able to look past anybody's disability. You must be able to respect that person. We have many clients who have mental illness. They're on psychotropic drugs. They have outbursts of anger. And sometimes you are the one that's in their path. If they have Alzheimer's, I've been punched and hit more times than I can tell you. The last thing I'm going to do is punch or hit this client. I'm going to back off and give them their space. And then if I realize that if I go out to visit that client again and the same behavior starts, then I know I'm the trigger that's causing this individual to get irate. And then with our agency, if a client's personality and the caregiver's personality don't mesh, we send in a new caregiver until they find the right person that they feel is the one that they want taking care of them. But when you are bound by license, we do have to, as a CNA, I have to be very careful because the state will investigate, and if they find me at fault, they will take my license away. And then in order for me to get another job, this is always going to be on my background. I may not even be able to get a job to flip hamburgers or to work in a nursery planting trees or something. So I always have to think of my clients as my family and how I would treat my family member. And hopefully if this is how my family members are being treated. Any more questions? Is anybody looking to go into the health field? No? Well, just know that we do have deaf clients, and we do hire the deaf caregivers, that they prefer that, so each other can talk instead of us writing on a piece of paper and flashing it, and then this is just somebody, this is their peers. They want their peers to be with them.
Do you have to be on Medicaid in order to access your services?
Medicaid, you can be on Medicare, and Medicare you have to be coming either out of a nursing home. Maybe you're in a nursing home, you don't want to be there. Nobody wants to go to a nursing home. We send our CTS, our community transition team in. They start transitioning them into home. We will use their Medicare for 60 days, and we're going to assess them for safety. We're going to send PT in, make sure everything's good for them, and our nurse is going to be there, and then we'll send CNAs in. And same thing, if they're coming out of a hospital, we'll use the Medicare. Medicaid, we can bill on Medicaid for skilled services only, so that means they require a nurse or a CNA. And then they may get some homemaker services. But Medicaid for long-term care, we have a program that's called IHSS, and that stands for In-Home Community or In-Home Support Services. That program allows you to hire your sister to take care of you, or you to take care of your mom, or you to get paid to take care of your family members. And we train you with everything that can possibly ever happen that you need. From somebody who can't walk, who needs to be put in a sling and lift up in a Hoyer, to be put in a wheelchair or into their bed.
Right. Okay, you had just mentioned that you can be hired. You can hire a family member. And obviously you can't abuse them.
No.
But if, but if it's family, how could you go about blaming your own family, right?
It absolutely happens. We've recently had a client whose child was taking care of them, and the family dynamics actually fell apart. The child got tired of being with the mom was tired of the son, and that dynamics just broke apart. So at that point, instead of this individual losing his job, we offer him to care for other clients. Then we send our own caregivers in to care for the mom. Sometimes they need respite. They need the time apart from each other. Right now there's a state law that we're fighting, that a husband cannot take care of a wife and a wife cannot take care of a husband. This is just the law that the Independent Center, we know there's a bill that we're hoping is finally going to pass, because I would rather have my husband take care of me. My husband knows me. He knows my attitude. He knows my quirks. So we're hoping that passes. And just know that you can go to CNA school. The course is 8 weeks long, and there's accelerated classes that can get you through even quicker. And that's it.
Okay. I have a question for you. How do I phrase this? How can you do an investigation if the care worker, and you have a deaf person with a disability, maybe that client was molested and then that client never says anything. How do you address that situation?
If they're deaf,
They don't, they have any type of disability, not just necessarily a deaf person, but suppose the client is molested by the caretaker and the client never says anything, they keep it to themselves. What do you do with that? So again, the caregiver is again?
so if the
He's
caregiver,
going to stand up so the camera can get his question. So again, you have the caretaker, and perhaps they molest the client who has a disability, deaf or otherwise. What do you do about that? And the deaf person or the disabled person never says anything.
those are really hard because we really have to have the client step up, and we have a close relationship with our clients at our home health care agency. They know they can call us 24/7. We have an on-call phone line. If anything ever happens, they can call us at 2 in the morning. But we teach them they have to speak up. Don't be afraid. We will not drop them as clients. We will do the investigation, but they have to voice that these things are happening to them. But just know that we go in every 90 days and we do a reassessment. If we see bruising or cuts and bruises on their arms, we start an investigation, especially if the caregivers aren't writing any grievance reports or any incident reports. If something happens in the home, if a client falls, the caregivers have got to fill out incident reports. We make them. That's just part of their job. But unless the client voices that to us, we may miss it.
Okay. So this person has autism, let's say, and they are unable to speak. What do you do in that situation?
Again, it's all visually. A lot of the caregivers for our artistic individuals are family members. We just can only pray and hope that they're not abusing, but we do watch for signs. If they come to our facility and the child has a black eye or the adult has a black eye, we're going to question that and we're going to get to the bottom of that. But the main thing is this autistic person is probably not living at home because they're unable to do the full care for themselves. And we're definitely going into their homes to check. And we do occasionally do drop-in visits to make sure that the caregiver is at home at the time they're supposed to be doing the care and that they're not off running around and leaving the client at home by themselves.
JJ's asking, are we done?
I think we're done.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Okay. Blue group needs to stay. I'm so nervous. The red group stays as well, yes? So you have a 5-minute break.
No, it's good information. Thank you.